Good morning. You are on dojo time right now. And for the next 45 minutes, we're going to focus on things that will hopefully get you started on the week and moving forward faster than you would do on your own. I am going to cover influence later on today, and we're going to dig into that a little bit. But the real topic of this show is going to be entitlement and expectation versus lovable customer or lovable product, right? And so I was going to talk about something entirely different than this morning. But I've had a number of calls over the last week or so with founders. And actually, we're going to do this show is going to be like on two different levels. One level is going to be I'm going to bring in one of an incredible founder who's growing incredibly fast, who has insights on influence and influencers like nobody else I know. And we're going to talk about how you can use influencers to push your business forward. And we're going to talk about like how he's broken through, because he's actually the example of the opposite of what I'm going to start talking about. And this thing I'm talking about is kind of pissing me off a little bit because, but it shouldn't, because it is a natural outcome of the times that we've lived in for the last 5 years. So got off a call fairly recently with a company that we had an investment in. It's on us, right? As much as it's on them. And this company was around for a couple of years, 5 to be exact. And the founder said, well, things were really bad. I didn't get this grant, so we didn't make it. And, my co-founder left me earlier on, so I didn't make it. And, now we haven't, and there are things happening within the country. I won't be specific because I don't want to bring you to which country it is. That was not my fault. I didn't make it. And I'm like, stop. How much money did you raise? $3 million. How long have you been doing this for? 5 years. How much money have you brought in? Zero money. The only reason you didn't make it is because your customers didn't give a shit about your product. That's why. And you can talk about how you approach the marketing correctly. You can talk about the fact that, well, I went for larger companies rather than smaller companies. No, the product was a bust. It was a fail. And what's been happening over the last 5 or 10 years is that founders have come through from certain organizations which are extremely well thought of, or certain schools which are very well thought of, or they have teams around them who have like done this or done this or done this. And I just need to be clear. And it's not just you, it's me as well. It's how all of us run our businesses. Like we run our businesses like a bunch of wussies. All we do is we talk about raising money. If we don't raise money, then that's the fault, right? If we don't manage to be able to break through, it's 100 other people's fault. No, it's not. It's our fault. We didn't get product market fit. That's it. As a founder, and this isn't the first time, by the way, and it's not the fact of failing. Failing is okay. It's this place of delusion that most of us live in, which is that the sign of success is actually raising money. It's not raising money. The sign of weakness is actually raising money. That's what happens when the only thing we do is we spend all of our time with our hands out trying to get people to invest money into it. And in our own mind, we are so 100% sure that this is the only way that we're going to be successful. And it's not. The only way we're going to be successful is to break through with our customers. That is it. That is the race that we are in from the very beginning. And I understand why this has happened, because up to 2021, we lived in this amazing market where everything was about pitch coaches and showing you how to be your greater self and how to reach for the stars and explain a vision of like things that are yet to come and all this stuff. And it's okay, because it happens every 5 or 10 years or so, that suddenly this entire market of people who have dreams and wishes and visions and stuff, and people like me perpetuate this rubbish, which takes us away from hitting product market fit. Product market fit is lovable product. Lovable product is something that your customer needs. If your customer doesn't need it, then you don't have anything. If you needed $1 million to find something that they like, you never had something in the first place, right? It's got to be different. It is now 2024. You are in the middle, we are in the middle of one of the deepest and most difficult times to raise money of the last 15 years. I haven't seen this since maybe 2007, 2008. I haven't seen a period this difficult to raise money. And you know what? It is fantastic, because for the last 15 years, the only thing that's happened, and by the way, take this from a guy whose only job is to try and deploy capital. That is my product market fit. It's no different from you. I have to have a perfect product market fit, or we fail as a venture capitalist. You have to have a proper product market fit, or lovable product, or you fail as a company. Your only job is to get the person who is taking the thing that you reckon is amazing to feel that that thing is better than what anybody else is actually doing for you. And it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but it is supposed to be driven by need from the customer and speed by you. Every day, iterate, 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 iterate. That's your job. It doesn't work at the beginning. It's not supposed to work at the beginning. You just made this thing up. But what you are supposed to be doing is obsessively all over your customer. This thing didn't work. Think of it like an engine. There's all these little pieces in the engine. You don't know the piece that's not working or that's broken. But you do know that you have to keep on changing all the pieces and optimizing all of the pieces until it works in a way that that engine sounds better than every other engine out there. Like, that's your job. That's what you have to do. You will raise money, by the way, when people see that you have product market fit. And product market fit means lovable product. Customer loves your product more than they do the other ones, either because of the cost, but more, hopefully, more often than not, because it's just better. Right? It also means that you have a growth loop, and a growth loop means you have the beginnings of a marketing solution to be able to get that product out to lots and lots and lots of people. And I'll give you an example. Like we incubate products internally all the time. One of the ones we're incubating right now is the skincare line. And on the skincare line, we're pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out. And my partner says to me, well, hang on a second. Why are you going to push this out at a price of like $150 for skincare? How do you know people are going to like that? Why don't you come out great quality and really inexpensive? And I'm like, you know what? Why did I need to iterate so long? Why didn't we just come out great quality and inexpensive? How about that for an amazing brand? That's transformative. Your brand has to be transformative. It has to be. That is your bar. If you step into the arena of a venture backable startup, what you are saying is, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I have got a declaration for you. And that is that I am going to build a product the like of which the world has never seen. It's going to be so good that I'm going to sell $10 to $15 million worth of this product every single month in an incredible growth loop to a needy and deserving audience. That's what I'm going to do. So how close are you to that? Right? How close are you to having a product that people desperately want? And it's okay if you're not close. What is not okay is if it's everybody else's fault. What is not okay is to have dozens and dozens and dozens of stand-up meetings as a meager excuse as to why you are shit. That's not okay. You do what you got to do to break through. That is the world we are in. It's like the Al Pacino great movie, Any Given Sunday, where he comes up at the end and they're losing and they're in a tough place and they got one showboater who's hated by the team and then the team hates the showboater. And he stands in front of everyone and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in hell right now. That is the market that you are in. But that hell only relates to the companies that are not getting product market fit. If you are getting product market fit, then you will find investors. But you have to make it happen. Just effort is not enough. Right? Okay, that's it. That's all I got for you to start with. I want to bring in Pedro because I'm on a roll here and because I want to counter the fact that I'm starting out. I'm not starting out like a dick. Me telling you all that you're wonderful and you're amazing and you're great, that's starting out as I had the same conversation with my kid when I sent him to the airport the other day. I'm like, I'm not here to be cuddly and nice and tell you I'm your dad and you're wonderful and everything else. This is it, boy to fucking man. Go out there and do something and then come back and we can be cuddly and nice. Okay, that's about my parenting. I'm gonna bring in, I'm gonna bring in Pedro, and we're gonna talk about nice things. Pedro.
Brian, man, you're the best. Like any chat that starts with quoting any given Sunday is just like a great way of starting Monday.
Yes,
Well, nice seeing you again, Brian.
it's
Nice to
great
have
seeing
you.
you too. It is great
It's
seeing
great.
you too. By the way, maybe one of the best movies of all time. I don't care, girl, guy, what you are. That was one of the greatest speeches of all time.
Inch by inch, this is it. This is
Inch
how we
by
do it.
inch. And that's what startup like that's what startup is, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
this game of inches. It's not easy. It's really, really, really hard. And we all have our thesis. Like you had your thesis, which is influencers are broken. They're all flaky. They're all like nobody's measuring anything. Like the customers are going crazy. The influencers are losing their minds. It's not working. I'll fix it. I had my thesis. Venture capital is biased and it's very hands off. And if we get directly involved, but the thesis is so far away from the execution of the implementation.
That's
The
super
ex-
far away.
Super far away, right? And you got to work your ass off, like scraping at inches while people are kicking you in the face every minute of every day. And when you're like you, I'm luckier than you. At least my kid has grown up. At least I can I can say that stuff to him without being taken away for parental, social counseling or something. You have like young family, young everything. Like that fight is very real. And actually, I watched you, and that's why I'm really glad. Like today, I probably went a little bit heavier than I would do because I had this ridiculous conversation with a person, and the conversation should have been, I fucked up. I fucked up from forget me, forget the investor. Like I fucked up for my team, I fucked up for my family, I fucked up myself. I went on this selfish endeavor to go out and build something like really big, and I didn't hit product market fit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to regroup, I'm going to strengthen myself up, and I'm going to go back in again because that's the only way that we can do it. And even better is if we do that in the middle. So and so I love the fact that I can counter me being so unmotivating, but motivating at the same time with everybody first thing in the Monday morning with an incredible founder like you who broke through in an incredibly difficult market. Like Brazil is a very, very hard market to be able to break through. You took one of the most difficult sectors, which is the influence sector. You started from scratch, which meant you had to build corporate relationships with companies that didn't have any trust in you whatsoever because they didn't know you. You didn't exist before. And you actually turned those people into customers and you did the work to make it happen. So if you could give a little bit of an intro to Viplink, first of all, and then I want to dig into and maybe talk a little bit about the results and where you are today. And then I want to dig into like the incredible work that you did to find that product market fit.
Right. Thank you, Brian. So it's a little bit of an intro. So we are Viplink. We are an influencer marketing company. We created a totally radically different way of doing business and created content for influencer marketing from a humble origin in South America to working today with global companies all around the world, especially today based in Miami. We been working on solving a problem. From what Brian says is you have this thesis, right? Thesis that something that doesn't work and you want to fix it, but from that to actually making it happen is you will encounter like thousands of different problems. But what we do, we want to make brands viral with influencers, and we look for context. Like imagine that we're now work for a like an app to learn English or learn Spanish or any other language. So we look for who is creating content to help you learn languages, right? So it's thousands of content creators like, hey, how do you say hello in Spanish? Hola. Or how do you say, like, how do you like ask food in Mexico, right? So you have all this content that we're gonna look for like thousands of search terms using AI. And when we look for those search terms, it's going to be a list of like thousands of creators that are talking currently about helping you to learn like languages. Once we identify those guys that are l- teaching you about doing certain thing, in this case, learning English or like learning any language, we're gonna like get in real time who are those guys and invite them to participate and create content, like do a real auction of context on of content, like sponsored content. When we do that, we create a situation where for brands it's like 90%, 90 cheaper to get branded content in the market. So for each collaboration of content that we do, we get to talk to 500 people in real time, and this is that. That's, well, it's crazy, right? But we do have like crazy numbers. So we talk to like literally analyze millions of content creators every month. So when we do this, like the results in terms of context and numbers, like absurd. So from very humble origins of like a small tech team in South America to for today, working with like global brands in the most advanced like the technological companies in the United States have been amazing, right, for us. And it's come from like from us for our perspective of like digging on the problem, on how can we solve this problem, and when we have focused on what the client wants and how can we solve this problem for the client in a more efficient way, and just keep digging and digging and going deeper down the rabbit hole on
Okay.
how to solve this, just go better.
No, you did this because of hard work. Really, that's the main reason that you did it. And by the way,
Absolutely.
the reason I'm so hating on failure is because there's literally nothing good about failure. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing like, oh, we learn and we talk. No, there's nothing good about it. Like you end up having no money, your family end up being poorer, you probably end up risking your relationship, and you probably end up losing your property as well. There's nothing good about failure. And so the only way you can start with this product fit is through really hard work. And what really like massively impressed me about Pedro, when we first made the investment, Pedro said, look, here's what's going to happen. Influencers don't work. We're going to use AI. And by the way, he was talking about this before anybody was talking about AI. And he's like, we're going to use AI and we're going to take the AI, and the AI is then going to be able to look at all of these influencers. But then much more importantly, we're then going to use math and algorithms to be able to measure what the outcome looks like. And so based on that, we can actually look at a cost per acquisition, cost per click. We can measure side by side with Facebook, Google, and everything else. That was a huge breakthrough because nobody else was doing that at the time. Everybody else is like brand awareness, the same bullshit as, yeah, we're trying really hard. No, right? It's like there is an exact math formula, and you have to measure all of your channels against each other in that math formula. Even if you're doing email outreach, it's still a formula that has a cost, including time and money and everything else. So Pedro came to me and he's like, okay, we're going to start the formula. The formula is very simple. For us to be able to break to a brand new market who've never heard from us, we have to reach out to a sufficient amount of people. We then have to get a sufficient conversion ratio, and then we have to get a sufficient retention ratio. Like that's what product fit is, right? And the better the outreach, the better the conversion, the better the retention, the better our product fit growth loop is going to be. The more that our customers will love us because we'll have got them in. But the first step to all of this is to do the outreach, because if you don't do the outreach, you don't have enough data to be able to work it out. And I remember looking at like a spreadsheet of Pedro's at the beginning, and it's like we're reaching out to literally hundreds of people every single day, and not just reaching out to them by email and then following up. And then afterwards, he made it more sophisticated, and he's like, yes, and we ping them on social media as well. And then afterwards, there's another piece of the growth loop for him, for the closing loop, which is are in the sequence of selling, whereby it's like, yes, and we have cold calls to them, and then we have subsequent emails to them. I want to talk about that first, because leaving aside the fact that you have a great product, leaving aside the fact that you've done everything so well on the back end, this front end, 90% of entrepreneurs suck on, right? They'll do 2, 3, 4, 5 partner calls. It feels really good. They get out, then they do a stand-up meeting and they talk about how awesome they are. Then they like buy a couple of t-shirts so they can have it with their logo on it. And then they can talk about how they're a proper team and they're bonding and they've got culture. And forget that shit. This is about outbound. If you don't do the math, you're not going to get there. So can you talk about this? Because it was the first thing that I remember looking at you and thinking, man, you badass. Like, for real, whatever happens in the future, like that there, nobody can ever take that away from you. Like, you are an animal when it comes to working out the math formula to be able to convert client. And I think it's one of the biggest parts of your success.
No, absolutely. When we're working on a B2B space, especially on a product, the services of influencer marketing, I mean, we are competing with hundreds, if not thousands, of little agencies that are acting on a local level. We need to be in front of like thousands of people to be able to gain their trust. So we knew from day one that if we want to get like budgets, if we want to get up to speed, we needed to send like thousands of emails. No one knew who we are. So we need to get to talk to people. If we don't talk to anyone, there is no one that's going to give us a go, right? And if you look to any book on sales, any book on B2B sales, it's all about numbers, right? So the more conversations you get, the more people is going to listen to you, the more people might trust you, especially when you're an early tech company. So if you know there is like a theory there's like an opportunity for an arbitrage, you need to go there and listen to both sides, right? So me and my partners, we were listening to both sides, listening to the creator side, listening like what they want, how much they want to get paid for each, like the job, the producing content, and for the other side. So it's not like sending thousands of emails to brands. We were sending millions of emails to also creators to make sure we get them together, right? Even if you get to see other successful companies in consumer space like Uber, how many trillions of emails they got to send by now. But even at the beginning, that you get to be there, you need to be getting in touch with people. Like, no one is going to do that for you, especially on early stage. This isn't just not going to happen. And even if you get early funding, there's no way for you to pay for that.
And let's speak to the early emails. So you were using Apollo for the outreach at the start, right? And you built sequences in, and then it was working at the beginning, but then not so well. And then talk a little bit about the messaging and what you learned about the messaging on Apollo, because there's two types of people who listen here. First type is entrepreneurs who really care. Entrepreneurs who want to be told that they're wonderful and amazing and great, they don't listen to this, right? But the people who really care about breaking through, they listen because they're trying to get tips about how they do it better. And investors who are looking for the best companies in the world, which is you.
Right. So I think in terms of outreach, you want to, we did committed loads of mistakes. We did loads of crazy things. One thing I'd recommend doing now is keeping a diary. So keeping a weekly diary of what have you done this week, how many emails you've sent today, and what was the copy, and what was the results of doing so, and just keeping it organized. That's gonna like help you get 3 times more results than just like doing one thing with lots of volume. So for example, if you get to send like 100 emails this week and you save, or I got 2 replies, then next week you get to send another 100 emails with a different copy, and you need to be testing like different copies to solve different like thesis of what problems they might have. If you are an early stage company, if you are if you know exactly what problem you are solving, then you need to go deeper in your ICP. So if you know you're solving problem for like a company has 100 to 200 employees, and they might have that problem, you just need to focus on that tier 1 ICP persona and just go deep on that person. Just focus all your energies to that target persona, right? But also keep a diary. when you do that. So because you might realize that, look, so on the third week of September, we had like lots of success because we sent that promotion with that package, and that resonated very well with the audience. Whilst in August we didn't have any, or in March we didn't have any sending this other copy, right? When you look at that and you do like retrospective sessions, quarterly or monthly, you might identify like clear winners, and those winners, like if you replicate those, like your booking rates could be like double, triple. So that's very interesting to look at those. And if you have a diary, instead of like just sending loads of, just going crazy, like we used to do that, like just go crazy and like send thousands and thousands of packages, write new copy, go, just get going and see what happens, right?
Man, I've done the same thing. How are we doing? We're doing great. We're sending out 2,000 emails a day on Apollo. Yeah. And then it's like, how many meetings do we have at the end of 2 weeks? One meeting. Yeah. And that was somebody asking to be taken off the list. And the stupid thing is, you're right, because what you're talking about is like human, emotional, psychological behavior, or we're even talking about from our perspective, trying to manipulate emotional behavior, right? And so I want to be, if I walk, the really weird thing, like just to take your point, is back in the days, I'm cheap and I'm Irish, and like those two things kind of go hand in hand, especially for me, right? So if I'm buying a laptop, I'm only spending like $500 on a laptop. But you see, Apple knew that. And Apple is like, well, he's cheap and he's Irish. And like, he only wants to spend $600 and we charge like $1,500 to $2,000. But, he also, he's getting on in life. He's not as good looking as he used to be. He's losing a lot of that stuff. We need to really play on that. We need to allow him to feel that if he has a Dell computer, he's going to be like that old codger who's sitting behind his desk using one finger, pressing keys. But if he has an Apple computer, oh yeah, Brian is back. He is going to walk down that street and people are going to be like, whoa, look at that. And it has nothing to do with the stuff I do on my laptop. That's what you're talking about. And sometimes that kind of messed up mindset is in place in the consumer already. Sometimes it's highly logical, right? Sometimes it's just momentary. But you have to play to all of the different mindsets until you find the one that clicks. And when you find the one that clicks and you find the demographic it clicks for, then you double and triple down on that, irrespective of how weird it is. So I love that. And I love that. And I saw how many you did. You were sending out so many emails to so many different organizations. And even when you and I had the calls on them, you'd come back and you'd be like, I can't believe it. We just got like this huge organization. Like some of your original orgs were, just mention just a few of them if you can, because they were way out of your league at the start.
Yeah, well, we closed like at first, like 2 years ago, we did campaigns for Amazon Prime Video. Like it was like huge. I would start like Johnson, things like, but some big learns, like shooting like to the stars is great, but sometimes if I look back at that, for example, when we worked for like pharma at first, now I'm not working with pharma anymore because I know there's like lots of legal on that, and we had like a lots of back and forth with legal. So it's like an industry that it takes so long to. So it's also good to now, like there's lots of reflection on that can accelerate your pipeline. But yeah, if you go for volume, you shoot for the stars, like something good might happen. Now we do way less volume, way more targeted, and we haven't done any outreach for the last 10 months. So we just like put together a new map because we've been growing on our clients.
Because they start recommending you because it comes out. So, but the only other piece I want to touch on before we move on to the customers today is that you did three things very beautifully. Number one, ridiculously aggressive outreach. You had a math formula that you wanted to have in place. Number two, you became really clever at actually using lots of different messaging to people to try and speak to what they need rather than what we are selling. And number three, you hit people on different platforms. So you didn't just hit them by email. You hit them by email, you hit them by phone, not everybody, but a lot of people, and you hit them by direct tweets, by direct messaging. Can you just speak a little bit to that final piece as well and how that helped with building your name recognition with them?
Sure. I think in today's market, email had like a big problem at the beginning of the year. So we stopped using email. I think lots of people is using email in the wrong way. So you get lots of spams. And so we had like a strategy where we stopped using email and we moved towards leveraging the use of LinkedIn. The good and bad thing about using LinkedIn, the good thing is that each message that you send gets sent and get read, because people just use LinkedIn, at least like professional people in today's America, everyone uses LinkedIn for professional reasons, so it's great. What's the bad things about LinkedIn? It's like very limited outreach, and very limited volume. You only have 170 to 220 requests per week. However, if you get to send all of them and you get to talk to everyone every week, that by the end of the year, that's a lot, right? And if you use them very wisely, you are like a small team, you can have like lots of impact by just focusing one channel. I recommend you focusing just on one channel and doing things very well on one channel, right? So you can use LinkedIn and then use DMs and text messages around LinkedIn, rather than using like 5 or 6 different channels and doing things like more or less in 5 different things. Just one thing very well.
100%. Yeah. And by the way, if you build up your own audience of people, I have like 20,000 people in my connections right now. So you can reach out to as many people as you want within your audience, and you would be surprised how helpful your audience are to referring you to other people and other people on LinkedIn, because it feels like it's a community of folks that are around you. Yeah. Go on, please.
100%. So that for us is very important. We're doubling down on just leveraging LinkedIn. I think it has lots of future going down because it's very safe. So just like improve your image there, improve content creation. Just work with Microsoft as a partner. It's our partner today. We use their AI and like their service and everything for doing lots of the work we do. Just keep growing with them as a partner, also to distribute our work, distribute what we do, get to talk to our partners, do like live streaming as we're doing today. Just keep growing that channel instead of email, that we believe that has like a very limited reach. It goes to spam. It's like there's like lots of different providers. You don't really know whether it's getting there, it's not getting there. We've seen that many corporations are using Slack or any other like messaging tools internally. So just like trying to they use not using more email, even internally, not using more email. So it's a waste of time.
You know what's very true, and I want everybody to underline that statement that Pedro just said there is, with your email, try it. Don't not try it. Like things like Apollo are still there, and you can still email out to folks. But don't obsess about it. I only have one objective with my email every single day, and it's not to find new business, not to find new companies. It's to delete as many as I can. Literally, that's my objective. If you said to me, what would make me the happiest in my email today is 0 emails without getting into trouble. That would make me the happiest. Well, with LinkedIn, it does make. So please look at your business. The reason you want to start with the math of outreach, which means you have to have a number. The number has to tie into the number of outreach, for the number of meetings, for the number of sales, that ties into the number of revenue, that ties into what you're promising all of these venture people around you that you are offering a return to. It all has to tie in together. If it doesn't tie in together, you're doomed on it. So start doing things, whatever you want to do. You want to do direct tweets, knock yourself out, do them all day long. You want to do WhatsApp outreach, do that all day long. You want to do LinkedIn, but to Pedro's point, in our opinion, it is highly likely that email is going through the worst period it has gone through in the last 50 years, right? And people hate email today. And so if you find that to be the case, then you may want to back the fuck off on email, but try it first before you do it. And then you built up with all of this stuff that you did phone calls. I remember you called me and you'd be like, okay, Brian, now it's going to be about cold calling, right? And you're like cold calling. And you call them once, you call them twice, you call them 3 times. And then you'd go deeper into it as well. And talk to me about about like where you've got to today. That's driven your revenue up like really well. So where does that position you today as far as where you go to next, Pedro? Because you've killed it. And I hope what everybody is taking from this so far is that you have to start from a position of humility to find a product that's perfect for your customers. And you can't do that without outreaching like crazy. And then when you get them in, you have to then convert them and you have to get them in. So actually, before we hit the where are you today, can we just move to the second stage? Like everybody here knows you did outreach. If anybody has any questions, please put them in. But we know that you did the outreach and the email. We know that you did your LinkedIn. We know that you hit them on social as well. We know that you hit them on cold calls as well. We know that you were outreaching to thousands of people every single month. So talk to me about like after that, where did that take you to as far as the conversion? How did you work on building your conversion and convincing companies that had never heard of you before, the biggest in the world, Amazon Prime, all of those companies out there? How did you convince them to give you a chance? What was your process on the conversion side?
Right. So for us today, do you want to talk how did we scale our revenue with our clients?
So when you did the first piece, which is the outreach, and then people are like, all right, Pedro, I'll talk to Viplink. What did you do then to convince them to buy? Like, what was your process like in those meetings?
Right. So on those meetings, I think what we built, so we realized that it was kind of broken, the whole system. It was like outdated and that we can do way better. So from the inception of the company, we just wanted to do a product that was like way better in terms of pricing and in terms of timing. So we were offering that service for them and we were very transparent, like, well, no, look, we can do this. So we can offer you like, instead of doing like 5 collaborations, we can do like 20 collaborations. So you offer that to them. And normally they were like, whoa, this is amazing. Because the value that we were offering, like it was like 4 times more. And it was just like on the deliverables of content. So they were used to do that. Imagine that you one content partnership, just getting one guy, one person to like get the phone and say, hey, I love Brian's restaurant, whatever is great, go to Brian's burgers in LA, it's amazing. So now they were getting 4 of them, right? So 4 people promoting Brian's restaurant. So that was the initial value proposition, doing like a challenge where we promote Brian's restaurant through loads of people, through lots of creators, they apply, and the top 4, they'll get the fee to promote Brian's. And when we pitched that to brands, they were like, whoa, so we can like do 4 times the output for the same input. And it was like, wow, that's amazing. That went well. And that was like the key message, right? On of the meetings, that was the key message on our outreach. That was the page, right? I lost you there.
What you're saying to people is that if they end up, there's no lose. You're saying to them, look, we're going to give you more. And if it's not better, then you're not going to have to do anything with us in the future, but it's going to be so much better that you can't afford not to do it.
Yeah, that's it. This is it. So you're gonna get way more for the same investment.
I love it. Okay, take me to where you are now. So everybody can hear it. You got all of the outreach. You know what Pedro did in the outreach. You know the numbers that he did there. You understand on the meetings, on the conversion, because he wanted to make sure that he converted at the highest level. And he was punching above his weight, right? He was a new MMA fighter coming in to fight against Conor McGregor. He knew he shouldn't be in the ring. So he gave an offer that they could not say no to. Okay. And so that's it. So what comes next? Where are you right now? And where do you build from here?
Right. So we realized we were sending like doing loads of campaigns, but then we realized the early problems, because it's very easy for you to do like Uber, right? It's easy for you to get like a random guy to take you to the airport, right? But then many things can go wrong, right? That guy can get sick and not pick you on time and you lose your flight, and then you're gonna tell me to fuck off, right? And not pay me. Like there's lots of problems. On paper, everything is beautiful, then, but then the execution of the campaigns gets very complicated, right? So then obviously we started to do campaigns. Not everything goes as you want. Then this is the execution part of the tech, making things it works. So some clients were happy, some clients were not happy. The tech breaks because it breaks, and whoever says that tech doesn't break doesn't know anything about tech, because it does break, right? So we were at a point where we're like doing like lots of pitching and booking lots of campaigns, and we were growing, but our growth rate was like this because we put like 4 new campaigns. We lost like 2 campaigns. The 2 guys that didn't like it, so they wouldn't book again. And normally in this market, you do like 1 campaign every like 2 months or 3 months, every quarter you do. So there were people that were not happy and not rebooking. They were like okay with the delivery, but for example, they wouldn't be happy about how the creator, who was the creator. There was many aspects that we realized on why wouldn't they rebook, right? What happened, right? So we started to say, okay, let's slow down. Like, we need to slow down with like bringing more clients because we're a small team, and it takes lots of time from our side to run the company, and we kind of be like bringing clients and losing clients, bringing clients, losing clients, bringing clients, losing clients. Just stop down and focus on the product, and totally focus on the products. And, well, forget investors, forget the new clients. Just focus on the product. So we make sure that we have a product that actually makes that all the clients that we bring in stick to us, because it doesn't make any.
I want to stay on this space here, because what you've just defined is lovable product, right? What most people do, and it's most and lovable product always starts from the place of the customer. And the problem with Silicon Valley is that everything starts with minimum viable product. And minimum viable product is a highly arrogant state, which is to say, we're just going to get whatever garbage out there, and then you'll deal with the garbage and we'll learn from it and come back. What you're saying is, we're going to start putting product out. We're going to become so deeply engaged with the customer's reaction on that we're going to make it better and better and better based on what they're telling us that they want on it. And based on that, we build out the most gorgeous product in the world. So if everybody feels this sequence that Pedro is talking to you about with Viplink, this is the way to build a unicorn. This is the only way to build a unicorn. Aggressive outreach, conversion, which is giving the customer an option which they cannot say no to, because we are small and they are big. And so we have to balance that up somehow. And then supreme execution by taking on much more than we are physically able to handle, so that we can make sure that we learn everything that they need to be in place for the product to be excellent. Like I love the clarity that you're giving on this, Pedro. I love the humility that you're putting on this. And I've watched as you've grown this. This is the model to build a unicorn. Everybody should be doing this. It's the only thing they should be doing. And I know, having watched him doing what he's doing, 70, 80% of every single thing he does every single day is sales. That's it. I put sales and marketing in the same place every single day. Sales and marketing. That's why he wins. That's why those other companies are losing. Anybody who's coming, like I started this call today, and I'll save this to the end because I want to conclude this in the same place that I found it. But before I do, Pedro, talk to me a little bit about growth numbers. Talk to me about what 2025 is going to look like, and talk to me about how that will tie into investor opportunities to be able to get involved with Viplink
Right.
in the future. And just what your vision is for where you take this to, because you are executing. And because of that, that now means that you've created an opportunity for investors in the space to be able to win with you.
Right. So for now, we're not looking for investment because we're way cash flow positive for the whole year we've been, and we are super comfortable with that. But we've done already over $1 million this year in revenues. For next year, we'll do over.
By the way, By the way, just I'm sorry. I got
Most
He's
of
not
our
looking for investment. Did anybody hear that? We're not looking. That's what great founders say. I don't need investment. The rest of
yeah,
us schmucks are like scraping around trying to find like $50 wherever we can find it because we haven't worked it out yet. He doesn't
yeah,
need investment because he's
we
a
have
big.
spent loads and loads of money in infrastructure of like AI, and but we're partners with Microsoft, and they lend us like almost $500,000 for to pay for that. So, which is our main cost. And
Very kind of them.
obviously, Brian got us covered with loads of infrastructure costs. So we're very happy. We're a tiny team, and we make over almost 60% profit on our revenue, and we did already
Incredible.
a million. So it's not that.
Incredible. And by the way, with not even like looking to raise money, which means everybody will want to give you money, like you're still growing at a venture backable rate. Like it's not that you need the money, you're still growing. What's your growth rate from this year to last year, from 2023 to 2024?
7 times or 6 times, or
Six
something like that.
times. Get the fuck out of here. Like 6 times. You're 6 times up and you're not asking for money. Please, everybody, this is how you do it. And it's not that you shouldn't take in money. You can take in money. It's just the moment you need money, every single minute, you go into this toxic relationship. It's like everybody has a friend who's in a relationship like this, where you look at one of the people and you're like, what the hell are you doing putting up with that shit? Like everybody has a friend. That is the life of most founders. That is what I want everybody to get out of that life, including all of us included. Him,
Uh-huh.
Pedro, that is the life that you all want to lead.
There's one thing, Brian. This is a very powerful piece of advice. I'd recommend that. There was a point by the beginning of the year that we were like so tight in terms of like time, that we've realized that if we want to grow the company, we really need to focus on, because the clients keep coming. Like we had a client that literally he like the investment he had on us went up by 5 times. So if he was doing like, I don't know, 20,000, now he's doing like 100,000 a year. The other guy,
Wow.
that they're investing like loads of money on us. It's just on our clients. So one piece of advice is like, we realized that if we wanted to add another 100 grand extra of revenue, we had to work on Saturday. If we want another 400 grand, we need to work on Sunday. So in order for us to scale, we really need to build systems. So we started to break down the company and say, look, when we do the payouts, that's a system. When we do the dealing with the AI for the creator, that's a system. When we do the AI to do the reporting for the brands, that's another system. So we set up to measure all the timing, all the different times that we have for onboarding a brand, for onboarding a creator, to get paid for a brand, to get paid for a creator, how many hours for this, and this. And we mapped all of those systems, and we looked at the ugliest one each month, right into the eyes, and we tried to zero it, right? So that is what is making us be able to scale, and
Oh,
is
I
very well.
love it. You're
And,
like
and,
music to my ears.
and for next year, our goal is to go to, we want to go to 5 years in revenue, 5 million in revenue.
5 million in revenue, so 5x in revenue. And by the
Yeah.
way, it's music to my ears because we built systems earlier on this year. Before we built systems this year, if we hadn't built systems this year, I would have seriously considered closing Expert Dojo down. Swear to God.
Yeah,
Swear to
and
God. It's that important because you just end up running around like a fool all the time, doing the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Systems are everything. And so so you're going to do 5 million this year. You're going to do 5x next year. You did like 5 or 6x in the last year. You're not out there looking for money. You're out there building your company. You're spending 80% on leads. Like Shashank, I want this one pinned on the top of the damn page saying masterclass on how not to be a wussy and how to build a proper unicorn. This is the only way to do it.
yeah, because if you don't have like enough runway of services being deliverable to your clients, you're going to have problems to deliver those services, and you won't be able to grow with your clients. And then they won't be happy, you won't be happy. So today, what we're building today is not, we're not thinking about how getting more clients. What we're thinking is how we can deliver 10 million worth of services
to your
in
customers.
7 months. This is what we're thinking about. I'm not thinking about investors. We're not thinking about getting more clients, because we have the most competitive service in the market today, as it is today. But I cannot be thinking, bring everyone here. No, I need to have the infrastructure to be able to bring everyone in. So I'm thinking about my grandma, so bringing everyone for Christmas. So I need to go to a supermarket to buy lots of meat, lots of wine, be able, thinking about, I need to be able to have like thousands and thousands of payouts every month, thousands and thousands and thousands of like campaigns running month. You see, once I have that, I can bring everyone in. But if I don't have that, I'm going to bring a complaint, and then the company is going to churn, and then it's a waste of time. Now, first, I have the infrastructure, super scalable, and then it's when you have a small company that's doing millions in revenue, and then we can think about smarter distribution channels, like going to agencies, and we plug in our company into an agency that has hundreds of clients, and then explodes.
And you explode. Okay, so I want to conclude this with a summary. Okay, so and I'm going to finish it like a sandwich from where I was at the start, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to say thank you to Pedro, because he just turned my day. Like literally, I woke up this morning, I had this other call, and I'm like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? Like, really, this is where we are? Like, we're the ones that are trying to force growth. And like, even us, we have like inside what we're doing such a shitty job that we have companies spending 5 years just looking to raise money and seeing if that's the pinnacle of like success. Shame on us, right? So Pedro has brought me back from a dark place at 7 o'clock to an awesome space right now, because I see somebody doing what's supposed to be done, building beautiful product that transforms customers with deep purpose tethered to it, that actually changes their lives and their worlds. And because of that, surprise, surprise, it's going up. What I would also say is, for any investors out there, if you're listening, he's the one I would be emailing and begging if he would take a little bit of money. He'll probably say no, but it's worth getting on his radar. If you want to do that, you can email me through brian@expertdojo.com. But this is the type of founder that is going to save America, and it's going to save Latin America, and it's going to save everywhere, because it's bringing good companies back in. Number 3, everything is based on the math. You heard Pedro talk about how they did the outreach. They had that very numerical of what was had to be done. They then made the offer that actually couldn't be replicated anywhere else. It was the greatest offer. They then used what they learned to be able to build out better and better and better and better and better product, until the product was kick ass, in the knowledge that he knew he would be kicked in the face every day with like product iterations and everything else. And then finally, he took it to a place where he was able to build systems. And that's where Horizon 2 comes in. That's where you build a system for a great Horizon 2. If you don't build systems, it doesn't matter what you've done before. You don't have to build it at the start because you haven't got it worked out, but you have to build it afterwards. So all of that takes me to a place of 95% of founders today have been educated for 2021, which is do pitch competitions, ask for money, go out, blame other people, it's not your fault, and then just try and fumble your way to a place where you just keep raising more money, and maybe you fumble on top of a product offering, right? Now, that is not what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to make sure the only thing you focus on is what Pedro is doing. You build out great products, you don't complain, you focus on sales, you work Saturdays, you work Sundays, you do what needs to be done. That's it. That's what building a unicorn is. That's how you grow at 200% plus every single year. And it's a lesson for every one of us to take away. And that's where we end. Pedro, last words.
Yes, that's how winning is done. Let's do it.
That's how winning is done. Because we are in hell, ladies and gentlemen, but we don't need to be. Follow the Pedro way.